prophecies, revelations, economic collapse, martial law, social and civil war, aliens, human hybrids, Nephilim, the Great Deception, world chaos, tsunamis. You want to stay tuned for special edition End Time Revelations with Pastor Henry Schaefer and Pastor Steve Hall. Everybody, and thanks for joining us here on 99.9, the Voice of Truth. You are now entering our program called the SEER program. It comes on every Thursday between 2 and 3 o'clock. Had to pause there for a minute to get my words straight. And it's good to have you aboard. I'm the host for the show, Pastor Steve Hall, and it's good to have the other host for the show, Pastor Henry Schaefer. Good to see you, brother.
I'm glad to be in the studio with you, Brother Steve. It's good to have you back.
Yeah,
back from
busy.
Vacation.
Well, it wasn't a vacation, but it was sort of like one. We was out at Savannah doing some weddings and stuff like that, and just been busy doing the work of the Lord. But anyway, it's good to be back, though.
And who else do we have sitting over here with us? We got Shotgun Steve.
I believe that's Shotgun Steve over there.
Yeah, and I brought my hat today.
Now, everybody's got to tune in. They got to see the hats that we all
see
got
the hat
here.
competition going
Yeah, we got one going on today, and I got my black hat on today. And, normally I don't wear any hats. Y'all know that. That's why I got all my hair.
Well, I don't know if that's true.
But I'm wearing my hats. I'm telling you what, I'm ready to ride today. Yeah. We got a great program today. Let's tell everybody if they're traveling down the road and they would like to get out of their vehicle or say, hey, listen, I'm going to a spot in the road that's going in and out. You can go to cwchrist.com. That's our website. And then you can go look on the right hand. You don't have to have an app or anything.
Yeah.
Just go to the website. Click on that red button, says Listen Live, and boom, right there, it just pulls up our player for you right there, and you can bookmark it, whatever you want to do. But listen anywhere in the world. Got a smartphone, got a tablet, got a computer. That's the way you do it, cwchrist.com. Now, again, one other thing you can do, and I'll stop with this here, we're streaming live on the web right now.
Yeah.
So if you go to Studio WUCC, go to YouTube, or just put in your browser. I don't care what you're at, your search engine, go Studio WUCC, YouTube, whatever you want. It'll take you to our YouTube page, and you'll see it's a live event taking place right now. Click on that. You can look right into the studio, and if you are doing that right now, we're going to wave at you right there in the camera and say thank you for tuning in today to
and,
Project
just
SEER.
to throw something else in there, Pastor, is that they can go back to YouTube at any time and watch it.
That's right. Any one of our live shows, they can go back and check them all out.
So I want them to go back, especially this one, because this is so pertinent because of the
Let's jump into it.
Election. So let's just throw the word election out there. And now we just opened up the whole can. And Trey Smith has a video you need to go to. Brand new. This is the same Trey Smith we had on with us a couple of weeks ago. And we were live and on the air, and he was giving us a lot of great information. But there's a new one out. And you just told me today, I came in the studio, didn't even know he had a new one out.
Yeah, it's a good one there. The title of it has to do with
bogus charts and poll rigging.
It's called, if you go to YouTube, you can check it out. It's Hillary Clinton, Halloween, Election Rigging, and Poll Rigging documentary. So it's about, if you don't know Trey Smith, he is a Trump man all the way.
Yeah.
And, we've done some he did an hour documentary, one prior to this about Trump, the coming landslide.
Yes.
And, God has really spoken to him and other prophets as well that he's like a King Cyrus. He is anointed for this time. Both candidates are flawed, admitted.
Certainly.
But the platforms and what God wants to do, as he would raise up King Cyrus to do what he wanted to do against Babylon, that there's a lot of things that is paralleled with Donald Trump, and that's in that video.
Yeah.
So as he's in that video, I know it has close to 2 million hits already. The one I'm telling you. So who's listening out there across the world, whatever, you need to watch that video of the coming landslide, Trump, the coming landslide. And this one here, though, is just out, and it was released yesterday, and I watched it. And I think right now it has well over 120,000 hits, views.
Wow, that's
on
great.
that video, and it was just released yesterday.
Yes.
So, but it is about pole rigging. It's about subliminal suggestions.
Mm-hmm.
It's about where we're at right now and how that we are being conditioned by the media
To accept Hillary.
and not to go out and vote, and election rigging and fraud and all this kind of stuff. So it's just one of the best documentaries to really open your eyes up.
And also at my church, we have been praying for this election, and I was informing my church over this last month, almost every time that I get in the pulpit, listen, we need to pray against this voter rigging, vote stealing,
right,
manipulation behind the scene with these computers, because there's a back door into every computer system, and all they got to do is they can change it just as fast as you can punch the vote.
It's like I'll tell you this here. It's just like doing the work here at the studio.
Right.
You'll call me, or someone will call me and say we're having a problem with a machine. I remote in. You don't even know if I'm in there. I'll be in there, and I can do some things, and you can turn your head or what have you, because I got cameras we can see, and turn your head, and I can manipulate the screen or do anything behind that. But let me tell you better than that, because that's the level that I work in on. So I have an IT person that when I call him and say, man, I can't get in. So you got to realize I can't get in to my back door. He's got a back door created so that he can get in to my back door, so he can get in to fix whatever he needs to fix so I can get in the back door. Does that not make sense? Yeah. So all that stuff is taking place behind all the machines if they want them to be
if they want it to be. And so I've been praying against that. My church has been praying against that. I don't want the government organization that is in power now to decide the outcome of this election by voter fraud. So we're praying that God will shut the door. And I've also prayed like this: God, save those that are done this nation the wrong that they've done, and if they will not repent, judge them and get them out of the office, and let them be put in open shame. Let all of their sins be, and their votes and the way they've treated our nation be brought to justice, and then put in their place godly men and women to run this country.
Exactly. Well, if you just look at the fraud, or I'm not going to call it fraud, but look at some things that happened with Bernie Sanders, and him going through the election process, and all the information that's been released through WikiLeaks now from the DNC. Whether you believe they're real or not, I believe they're real. But they're talking about how certain things was made to look certain ways so that Bernie Sanders would not win. I'm going, do what? And that's right. And a lot of that's coming out now. And
that's the subliminal messaging that's going out over all the news outlets right now, talking about how far ahead that she is. And Trey Smith talks about all this, and he shows video. I just encourage people to go watch it. We're going to play it, but let's let them watch it.
Okay, so let me say this here. Let me say this here is I did get was able to communicate yesterday, and I'm not sure if we're going to get a phone call from Trey about 20 after. So I don't know.
Okay.
So if he does, we'll interrupt and let him get on here and talk about it. If not, we'll let it play right on through.
Okay.
So go ahead and introduce it now, so let everybody know what are they listening to.
So they're going to be listening to Trey Smith, and he is really pounced on Hillary's wagon. He's jumping up and down on it and exposing the fraud that is in it, the poll rigging, the bogus charts, especially these bogus charts where he shows, she's supposed to be winning this one, and then he shows a picture of the campaign and there's nobody at her rallies. And then he shows you the pictures of Donald Trump, and they are everywhere. He has standing room only. And so there's something wrong in the mix, and he talks about it.
Well, that CNN recently, it was on the internet that they were told not to span the crowd at Hillary Clinton's
because
speeches.
there was no crowd.
Because there was no crowd.
There was no crowd.
There wasn't any crowd.
Well, let me tell you something else when you're just talking about that, because you go see it on the video, how large Trump's crowds are, 10, 20,000.
Yeah.
And she could barely fill a
stadium. Football stadium.
A gymnasium.
That's right.
Gymnasium.
The gymnasium of
it. You couldn't do that. There's been some that while she was even staged to the point that she wasn't there, that they green screened it and had the crowd out front, and then had her on stage there to where it looked like there was we know how to do that.
Yeah.
And those who are doing the videos are going, oh, there's something, this isn't right.
That ain't right.
This screen here isn't right, y'all. This crowd ain't really there.
Yeah, there was one time when a newscaster, I can't remember what station it was, but he was given a moment by moment play on a speech that Bill Clinton and Hillary were at, and he made the statement. There was a small crowd there, about 60 people that they were speaking to, and somebody heard that, I guess, and said, you would never see only 60 people at a Trump rally. Mm-hmm. And so he was reprimanded for that. And so there's a control on even the people that are newscasters.
There you go. Are you ready?
So we better start. Let's get
go
this
ahead
thing
and
rolling.
It's 30 minutes. We're going to let it run. We may pull it in and out to comment on it, but this is going to be quite interesting. Here we go. This is Trey Smith. Here we go.
Plastered all over the screens.
And a special thanks to the members of the Roosevelt family who are here.
Now, all of these emails on the bottom of the screen, like this beautiful gem here, where apparently Hillary is, well, where it's being made abundantly clear. These now infamous shots from the second presidential debate of the fly landing on Hillary's forehead. In truth.
And to one who is not, Eleanor.
Mr. Curtis, are there programs that can be used to secretly fix elections?
Yes.
How do you know that to be the case?
How she feels about us, common Americans. These all come out of the WikiLeaks releases.
Well, you're the commissioner, you said, of the Democratic Election Commissioner. So if you think there's voter fraud and you think there should be voter ID, why don't people listen to you?
She's winning, she's winning, she's winning, she's winning, she's winning. Like subliminal messages to market to the mind. Yeah, they're bogus. We'll get to that.
As all of you famously learned when I served as president.
Flies all over her during that entire debate. This fly right here that keeps swarming around. I don't think I have to comment on the spiritual implications of that. Flies are attracted to what? Death, decay. Flies also, what's the old saying? Flies flock to what again?
My wife, now the Secretary of State, was known to commune with Eleanor on a regular basis.
At the company I work for in Oviedo, Florida, that did just that.
There are reports right now, while I'm making this video, of tens of thousands of bogus ballots for this lady here going to key swing states in mass.
And you're saying there's a lot of absentee ballot fraud, too.
Oh, there's thousands of absentee ballots. I don't know where they came from.
No matter what comes out about her, she always seems to be 10 points ahead, doesn't she? Isn't that strange?
And when you say did just that, it would rig an election?
It would flip the vote 51-49 to whoever you wanted it to go to and whichever race you wanted to win.
Now here's some neat articles that just showed up this morning. Early voting numbers promising for Clinton, specifically where? In the battleground states. More boxes of those Hillary votes showing up off the back of the truck.
That's what I'm concerned about right there.
That's
those fake voting
voting
ballots.
Whenever she does the mad, laughing, heckling, this face here, whenever she does that, or when she does the evil eye, then whatever is being said is totally sideways. Now, if one were, in theory, trying to rig, or what some might call defraud, an election, it would be really helpful if all the poll numbers for that person on the screens always reported you were winning, no matter what was happening. In reality, here's the numbers on the screens right here. Look, Bernie only had 40 to 52. That's in California. Same thing here, same thing here. 200 people show up to her event, her rally, on the same day that Trump packed an entire stadium in Florida, just like he does every time he steps off an airplane. Yet in practical reality, here she is with a couple of hundred people in a little tiny gymnasium. Like the people's choice versus the media's choice. Look at all these little crowd of people while he was packing a stadium. Both of these here were in California, where the numbers on the screens were like this. All the social medias They always put Trump, just like they did with Bernie Sanders. I'm not gonna dare in this particular video call this the Democratic Party. That would be an insult to Democrats and liberals that are my friends. Let's call it what it appears to be called right in the WikiLeaks emails. The I Hate Everyday Americans party, right there. The same type of landslide is what you need here, is what you see on your social media. From Donald Trump's Facebook being nearly twice hers, his Twitter, much more than that. I find this one interesting, right here on Reddit. They always put Trump light years ahead on every single save not one poll. When it comes to the People's Choice social media stuff, that's Trump, that's Hillary. Democrat and Republican alike. Donald Trump organically 198,000 followers. Hillary for prison, this is the official Reddit. Hillary for prison, 55,000.
Was just endorsed, and more are coming next week. It'll be over 200 admirals, many of them are here, admirals and generals endorsed me to lead this country.
Hillary herself, 24,000. Not only is Donald Trump light years ahead of her in organic results, but there are nearly more than twice as many people that want her in prison than want her as president.
Yep.
No matter how dark it gets. Keep this in mind. Let their games against you and your families have the complete reverse effect. Let it give you an excitement and a boldness.
Boy, he's excited in
Yeah, he is.
On election day is exactly
We need to
what
show up
you
and
see
rally on election
at
day.
all the events, sometimes 3 a day. Landslide crowds. Bear in mind, on the terrifying Hillary side, you got crowds like this, where you're barely filling the gymnasiums, with people that were paid to stand there. And in truth, I feel bad for them. They had to sit through something more painful than an insurance convention in Dallas. But the truth, here's the truth. Hillary Clinton couldn't fill a phone booth if it were full of free Obama phones.
Cyber attackers to hack into government files, to hack into personal files, hack into the Democratic National Committee.
Not only is this just about the stupidest thing that I've ever heard anybody state at a presidential
Tell it
things
like
are
it
being
is, Chris.
cyber attacked all around me. Stuff gets lost. I can't even keep track of my own filthy emails.
You are very clearly quoting from WikiLeaks, and what's really important about WikiLeaks,
We can't whitewash them fast enough. Appears to be what she's stating repeatedly.
they have hacked American websites, American accounts of private people.
Now, let me ask you this. Somebody that gets cyber attacks all around them all the time, you're gonna hand over, oh, here's the keys to the nuclear codes. How long before you think those got lost or disappeared if she became president? Do you think it would be 10 minutes, 15, or do you think it would be a whole half hour before she lost control of those? But since we're delving into the levels of hell and insanity anyway, oh yeah, this gets darker. Clips like this one here, where you have Bill openly discussing Hillary summonsing spirits for appearing to be for advice on how to run the government, no less. There was always craziness like this coming from this lady, right? Dad, and trying to do things that seem to want to suck your freedoms away.
And so she called me last night on her way home from Peru to remind me to say that Eleanor had talked to her and reminded her that I should say that.
And having Bill out there to apologize, seeming to apologize for it, and your family's funding and prosper from your pockets. When we were putting together the documentary Entities, it wasn't just the nefarious, under the table, underhanded stuff that was all over the place. The occult stuff was everywhere, or at least it seemed to be, by simply typing the name Hillary into the cauldron brew of the internet. And I can tell you that nearly all of that, we're lucky to even have those few clips, because all of that would get whitewashed right off the internet. But in all fairness and truth, the correlation between the occult and especially when she says things that are untrue, which she candidly does often, or look at this one right here. And as I've mentioned, we've all been quite content to demean government, drop civics, and in general conspire to produce an unaware and compliant citizenry. That means you and me, by the way. Twisting, manipulating, or distorting the truth, whether it be to keep things away from committees, from having a chance to realize what they have gotten themselves into, or whether it be in the case of appearance of skewed numbers to play psychological warfare and manipulate the mind through the modern crystal balls. Now, let me ask you this. This lady here, and I've got to admit, they do an excellent job dolling her up, getting her propped up there for those presidential debates. But let me ask you.
Because the truth is, under President Obama, we've lost control of things that we used to have control over. We came in with the internet, we came up with the internet.
It does appear to also be true that since large portions of the internet were given over to what amounts under the control of the UN, that there have been major problems, never existed before, with the internet in places on massive scale, places like California. The unawareness remains strong. They're happy you're unaware, but compliance, your compliance, is obviously fading rapidly through their grasp. That's actually what this states on the screen right here. This problem demands some serious, they stated that twice, thinking. Now, I've heard it asked, do you think she would really try and defraud or rig the election? What is that supposed to be? A joke? This is Hillary Clinton, man.
Oh, the exit polls should not be significantly different from the vote.
And if they were, you would conclude what?
I would conclude someone's playing with the vote.
You would know there's something terribly wrong and medically wrong if she didn't try and rig the election. At not one, not two, but all three presidential debates, she had this prepared narrative about cyber attacks, Russia, and that it would, apparently, if I'm understanding her correctly, she almost sounds like what she means is that she's anticipating some kind of coming cyber attack.
That the Kremlin, meaning Putin and the Russian government, are directing the attacks, the hacking on American accounts to influence our election.
Now, it would be true that if one were anticipating a cyber attack, I mean, she runs straight there, even when that's not even the question that's asked.
Never had anything like this happen in any of our elections before.
That was a great pivot off the fact that you want open borders, okay? How did we get on to Putin?
Why do you think she does that?
She's just bringing it up.
This has come from the highest levels of the Russian government, clearly from Putin himself, in an effort to influence our election.
And anticipating, maybe blaming such cyber attack on the Russians, whatever the case.
You don't know who broke in to DNC, but what did we learn with DNC? We learned that Bernie Sanders was taken advantage of by your people.
The only thing I can think that would really benefit is, I don't know, if somebody were planning to skew the elections, and of course, just in theory, massive cyber attack could certainly be used to whitewash away all the evidence of something like that. Now, watch this. No hidden cards, nothing in my sleeves, and not just poll-driven, demographically inspired messaging.
Look, she's been proven to be a liar on so many different ways. This is just another lie.
There are thousands of these She wants to achieve consistency. And the best way to do that is to keep the people, you and me, ignorant. This is what I'm telling you. Is it the poll results that you see on your media screens? You can make those to be 10 points ahead if you want, 6 points if you want, 3 points if you want, or make them go back and forth and make it look like a close race if you want. And all you got to do is read through, look, define convoluted text on the bottom of their little screens that explain to you how you're doing the polls. If you put those up on a pie chart and see, first of all, there's sample groups of 1,000 people or less in most every single case with oversampling for Hillary. Or how about polls done using modern technology? I mean, after all, we're not in the 1950s anymore where we got to call everybody up. States. People feel comfortable answering questions on the app over here without the fear of being bullied or being called a racist. Like might be your fear if you were getting a call from a pollster, right? People can express themselves safely and you get a pure answer. Here's the pure answer over here, 36%. Just this one app right here, just this one, and there are tons of types of this kind of app. 64% for Trump. A true sample group would be something like 50K, right? And you're going to find lots of examples like this that are independently done polls. On this one here, 33%, Republican and Democrat, not shifted. Over here, 34% independent. Look at the numbers here, 33,478. That's 67% right there. To Clinton's 19%. So take a look up here, YouTube live streams for Trump. When this guy gets on his live stream, 30,000 people are tuning in a flash. That's out of 100K daily cycling users. You could run and get these results today, yesterday, a month ago, or a month from now on this election, if it were honest. For Clinton, 500, these are the averages. Look, those low numbers, if she tried to do a live stream or anything of the sort on her own without big media, illusory help, nobody cares what this woman has to say. Look on your screens. Every article, every news story is about Donald Trump, not Hillary Clinton. Nobody cares what Hillary would possibly have to say. They're all more accurately trying to affect your mind, to talk you out of getting up to go vote for Trump. And in truth, the articles, which I've been watching and reading for months, which are like nails on chalkboard, I gotta be very frank with you. Those articles for this lady, they look desperate. 500, this video you're watching right now will pull 500 views and probably under 10 minutes from going up. This is a person running for president of the United States.
So when Secretary Clinton talks about this, I mean, I'll take the admirals and I'll take the generals any day over the political hacks that I see that have led our country so brilliantly over the last 10 years with their knowledge, okay?
All I know for an absolute fact is this. Whatever Miss Clinton is intending to do, should she prevail, should she become president, not only looks bleak for the people here of the United States, but seems to also have the Russians extremely nervous.
Excuse me. Putin has outsmarted her in Syria. He's outsmarted her every step of the way.
Americans voting for president on November 8th must realize that they are voting for peace on planet Earth if they vote for Trump. But if they vote for Hillary, it's war.
This isn't little bitty stuff going on here. That clip you just saw is from a close friend and ally of the Kremlin.
1,800 nuclear warheads, and she's playing chicken. Look, Putin, from everything I see, has no respect for this person.
And while most all of your mainstream medias appear to be totally consumed with pumping out psychological warfare for the common man's mind, and putting out slanted poll numbers and talking about 10-year-old comments. Read a little bit further down the articles and you're going to find plethoras of Russia calling back its people, seeming to be dusting off its weapons, and also checking out its nuclear bomb shelters. So here's what I'm telling you. whatever games, I guess that's called the Junior Dr. Evil outfit she chose to wear that day, that Miss, when I need advice, I summons the spirits, is playing. What is she intending to do that has got them that nervous? She keeps stating that she believes global warming is the world's largest problem.
Greatest problem the world has is nuclear armament, nuclear weapons. Not global warming like you think and your president thinks.
It's beginning to sound like that if she gets elected, she may well be right. And as per these slanted polls that they keep pumping onto your mind, presumably to try and break your spirit with, keep these images in mind. This right here is what you need on election day. So the only thing that anyone could be absolutely certain of is if there were some kind of cyber attack, number one, you would most definitely know that it was contrived. And number two, the other thing you would know for a fact is that Hillary Clinton most certainly didn't win the election. Now that would all be correct, right? I would ask that all Americans, everyone watching this video, pray that this election be a totally honest and straight up election. And that being stated, if Hillary Clinton is the honest and legitimate winner, and that is truly what America's choice is Hillary Clinton, then absolutely, so be it, if in fact that is America's choice in an honest, non-cyber attacked election.
Should really be apologizing for, and the thing that you should be apologizing for, are the 33,000 emails that you deleted and that you acid washed, and then the 2 boxes of emails and other things last week that were taken from an office and are now missing.
And as for me, on a personal note, as a Christian, a man of faith, a man who loves freedom, which is every good gift, including freedom and prosper. Every good gift is from God above. A man who loves science and a man who loves truth and honesty. I personally will be voting on election day for Donald Trump. And I, for one, will also be wearing red that day, not for Democrat or Republican, because I'm neither, but in honor of the blood shed by those that laid down their lives on the highest altars of sacrifice to pay for the very freedoms that appear to be being fought against right now in this land. Let me ask you this. How do me or you give away for free what others were willing to die for? And a few of the clips that you've seen in this video actually came out of the documentary Entities, a documentary about the world that you can't see with your eyes, particularly being that this, or at least while I'm putting this video together, is October, but also applies, this is a great film, November, December. We're going to apply free shipping, guaranteed, on the entire Entities unveiling set as the next full-length documentary, not just common releases that we do on our YouTube channel, but the next full-length documentary will be the Exodus. There won't be anything like it. It's at the Red Seas where the miracle happens, is it not? And we are praying for a parting of the Red Seas.
Because there has never been so many lies, so much deception. There has never been anything like it. And we're going to have a special prosecutor.
Well, as the God in a Nutshell, full collections all the way through December. But this particular documentary here, particularly during October and November, look, you're not just going to look at the dark stuff. And by the way, this isn't the Hollywood stuff.
All right. I think that's it.
That's powerful.
Everybody needs to go watch
it. Let me work on this, or you go ahead and take it.
Everybody needs to go watch and listen closely to what he's saying, because I am convinced that this man is on target, that Trey Smith is on target with what he's saying. I feel in my spirit, and I've been talking this for a while now, is that we're standing at a crossroads. And we can go the Democratic Party if we want to, but I'm telling you the Democratic Party and that fork in the road is going to lead this country straight into the destruction, and the judgment of God will follow on our heels.
Yes.
If we can change and we can go another path, I believe that's the path that Donald Trump is trying to help us take, and that path will lead us back to getting biblical principles reinstated and get out of the mess that we've got ourselves into. I've been hearing about the billions and billions of dollars we gave to Iran to go along with a deal that gave them unlimited help to actually in 10 years have nuclear weapons. I don't understand this. There's so many things, even the health care Reform Act, Obamacare. Nobody's even read the thing. It's like a whole library.
I read my insurance premium. And you know what mine is now?
What is it?
Mine, when they first started, it was $800.
Yeah.
Then it went to $1,200.
Yeah.
And it's $1,600 last year. Is everybody ready? Y'all,
ready.
Let's go ahead and vote this thing on back in.
Come on.
Mine this year, when I sign up, will be $2,100 a month.
$2,100 a month, and it started out at $800.
$800. Yep.
And they said it was going to go up 80%.
So here's the thing: this is nuts.
We can't afford this.
This is nuts.
Something's got to.
Y'all are crazy,
give.
and we're going to vote this on back in again. You know what I mean? Oh, we're just going to build on it. You know, like we're going to take out what's bad. But to those who it doesn't affect, it doesn't mean anything. But the thing is that 8 years ago, people stood and said, "This will not work. This is not right." But a lot of people voted color, and voted our president in.
Yes.
The thing is that he's telling you this is, and everybody's going, this is not going to work. And again, a lot of people are going to vote because she's a female.
Yeah.
And all along we're trying to say, listen, the policies that she wants to promote will not work.
I have heard her say with her own mouth, my own ears have watched and heard her mouth say these words, that she will raise the tax on the middle class.
On the middle class.
That she will continue to toe the party line on abortion and extend the rights of women. And I'm thinking, you're killing thousands and thousands every day. That's not enough. Now they want to kill them when they're coming out of the birth canal.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Well,
it's making me sicker all the time.
Yeah. But the thing is that when you take God out of the government, when you take any Christian influence out of the government and you take God out, well, this is what you have. You virtually have a humanistic government that's full of homosexuality, full of transgender, full of murder, full of corruption, and all I'm saying is that all of them are flawed. But the thing is, when I look at this here, I see a man over here who, listen to this here. So all the people who are listening out there, and we have their ears, there have been thousands of pastors come around Donald Trump and pray over Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And they have talked to him one-on-one. And they are backing this man, saying that this is the one that they believe that God is going to, and it's been thousands of pastors.
Right.
So are you going to listen to, who are you listening to?
Yeah.
The media is what
are
most
you
people-
listening to the pastors that God set over you? Or what are you listening? Are you listening to the media and the lies and the spins of the media? The media is not your pastor.
No.
Does that make
media-
sense what I'm saying?
Exactly. The media is producing these bogus charts and this poll rigging and trying to subliminally massage our brains to accept the fact that, well, Hillary's already got it. Why would I go vote? Why would I even want to say anything good for Trump when everybody is already pulling for Hillary?
Right.
And that is the media lie.
When I was young, we used to call that selling wolf tickets.
Wolf tickets. I had never heard of that.
Selling somebody a wolf ticket don't have no value.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I noticed, the deception, the twisting of the information he talked about, and the distortion of facts, and giving an appearance of something that isn't real in the crowds. The crowds were real. I mean, the stadium's packed like it was a rock concert for Trump. But then when she was in a gymnasium, she couldn't even fill it halfway full. So the manipulation there, I believe what it did is it created an enigma within the media to is it polarize somebody?
Yeah.
Polarize Trump. Now, what if they went after Trump over? They went over because he said some things that were
10 years ago.
Yeah, 10 years ago. But he also said some things at times. But he's a street fighter. He to me, Donald Trump is the kind of man who's probably been in an alley a few times in his life and had to fight, and he has learned how to deal with bullies and deal with the money changers and all those kind of folks. That's why he's successful. And so, but they can't really find anything super. He's got a beautiful family. You see discipline in his children. You see a commitment of his family together. And after the debates, that's one thing. And one of the callers said this earlier. His family comes up around him, and hugs him, and there's unity. But then Bill and Hillary go down in the crowd and separate.
Yeah, it's kind of like Trey Smith said. It's like it's between the people's choice and the media's choice. When I watch the media on the election, it is every channel is skewed towards Hillary Clinton, every one of them. And then when they do mention Trump, they have something negative. They tie something negative onto him. They're always trying to attach something so that when you see him, you think this negative thought, but when you see Hillary, you think a positive thought.
Well, one of the things that I followed up with was they released information that prior, and this was in the WikiLeaks emails, is that prior to Hillary Clinton going into the president, announcing her president's candidacy, that they had a meeting at their house and they invited all the media, the main media news outlets, except guess which one? Fox News.
Okay.
All the media outlet was sent to her house, and they all had a night of, this is what we're going to be doing. Thank you for your support. So you're not going to hear anything negative at all, at all towards Hillary Clinton, all from any of the media. And then again, of course, Fox News was not there, and of course now that they're kind of like the independent group. But they're, I guess they're fair and balanced. I'm not sure about all that, but when you start looking at a lot of the things that are out there, is that you see they're in. I don't want to use the word in bed with her, but they are on her side, leaning like that, and are trying to skew what we think about everything.
And why is that? To me, it's because there is a celebrity media mentality in the world that is secular. It believes you can mix sin and pleasure, and be a nice person and still have a pathway to God.
And I think it's an attack on manhood in general.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants a man who's got a backbone to stand up in this country anymore. You see, they're attacked on every TV show. The position of father, husband, guide, provider, that man figure that every household needs, that every church needs, that every nation needs, has been attacked by every sitcom, every TV show, until now the children and the women have taken over the show, and the wisdom and the flow of things comes from not the man, but the other source. And so when you see this man stand up, and he don't back down. He'll shoot you square in the face with the facts. And when he does that, it is amazing the effect that people have. It's like, oh, I can't believe he said that. He said it because he's a man.
Yeah. So one thing that echoes with me with Trey Smith in the video here. He says, if this election happens and it's true, the way it happens, and America votes for Hillary Clinton, and we go that direction, so be it. But let it be that's what everybody votes and
let it be fair.
If that's what you want, that's what we get. And then we pick up the pieces and we go from there.
Yeah.
And so let it be like that. But I look at a lot of the things that people have said in the past. They said that there were voter fraud. Well, we know for a fact that when you look at the different videos that's been released about how that they have done things at rallies to cause problems on Trump rallies, that it's out there. You can go check it out. Of course, in the video here, he said there were boxes and boxes and boxes of Hillary ballots already out there, and they didn't even happen yet.
Well, if people don't believe there's been voter fraud in America, then they need to go back to the 60s, and they need to go back to the 50s and see where the polls were manipulated, and where a lot of the black culture was not even allowed to vote, or they were turned away from the voting booths. They fought. The black culture in this country fought for the right to have the equality of the vote and to be able to go and cast their ballot like everybody else. And there was voter fraud in this country. It happened in Detroit. It happened in Chicago. It happened in Selma, Alabama. It happened in Birmingham, Alabama.
Well, it happened in 2008, brother.
Yeah.
Was it 2000?
Yeah.
No, 2000 with Gore.
And the technology's better now. So they can push a button, make something like Trey was saying. They can change the numbers just like that.
Yes.
So what would you say, Steve? What is your because I got something I want to say to every person who's out there as a pastor, and as we talking to people. I mean, he's gonna influence people. Trey Smith is.
Yeah, he is.
The media. Listen, the media is an influencer.
Yes, it is.
And you have to realize that Project SEER is an influencer.
Right.
Our radio station is an influencer.
That's right.
So we're doing nothing no different than what all the media does. Except y'all don't want me to say nothing. Now, isn't that a spirit of intimidation that's out there across the land today? They all can eschew what they want, but I can't say through free speech what that is. So what do you want to say, Steve, about it?
I want to tell our listening audience the first and most powerful thing we have as Christians is prayer, and that we need to pray specifically against voter fraud.
Yes.
We need to pray specifically that those who attempt it will get caught, will get prosecuted, and will end up in jail with their name and their reputation tarnished and their political future ruined.
Yeah.
Pray that way, because if they're going to play with iniquity and try to win by deceit, they're playing on the devil's side. And so let us pray for God's people to make their way into politics where there will be truth and honesty, whether it's at the voting booth or whether it's at the vote to write new policy.
Yeah.
So we need to pray, because God is ultimately in control of everything. And if we're asking our Father, we have not because we ask not. If we're asking the Father to make this a fair election, He can, because we'll open the door for Him to intervene on earth according to His will.
Yeah, we had a pastor call from Nebraska the other day, and he said that their church had been praying that the mask of Satan would come off, and that the people would realize the corruption and the manipulation of the media and the elite. And he said they're praying. That's what they're praying for, is that God will, His sovereignty and His divine will take place. And but I believe that Christians all across this nation need to stand up and with a backbone look at the cause and effect of what's going to happen with who gets elected. We know that the Democratic Party is going to push every immoral theology that they can on us, and they're going to try to force us. They're going to try to shut down the churches from saying anything about the secular world. They're going to attack us. And if we allow that to happen, we'll answer to God for that someday.
Right. My turn?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Okay, my turn is this, is that what I see is in America right now, we have two philosophies, two major parties. One is a Democratic Party, one is the Republican Party. Beyond just the names of that, I see two groups of people. One is a group of people that has a secular view of the world, shy of any influence from the church. They don't want to have the Democratic Party doesn't want to have any influence from the church or God's values at all. And then that party is producing in our nation, it has lit up the White House with the rainbow flag. God's word says, but they're operating in a sphere that is negative of any type of influence from God, any religion. So it's a humanistic philosophy.
Yeah.
And it's whatever man wants to do apart from God. So you have homosexuality. You have murder of the unborn, just to the very point to where, they're in the birth canal. Yeah. We have men marrying men, women marrying women. We're going to see laws to where pornography is going to be will run rampant, even with children. We'll be able to have those type of things. But the laws are made for these kind of things, to where unions, marriage, see, where God's law says that it should be between a man and a woman, there's civil unions or marriage, because it has no influence from God at all. And the Democratic Party is pushing that. They don't want to have anything to do with God. And they're telling us no prayer in schools, none of this, none of that. We don't want God in that. So when you stand and vote, that's what you're voting for. If you vote Democrat, on the other side, that there is a group of people who believes in the Constitution. Of course, they say they do too. That we believe that religious freedom, that our country was based off of Christian principles, and that our founders were Christians, and they were talking about morality and having the morals of God, to where one group, the Democratic group, has even taken the 10 Commandments out of the courthouse. Nothing to have to do with God. And we say, no, that's what we're based on. It's a good thing. Yeah. You see what I'm getting at? So we say that there is the sanctity of life, that God, we should protect our unborn. We talk about that homosexual marriage is not right because God's laws, God's word says that. So what's going to happen is what the Christian stands for. You're either going to vote this coming election time, you're either going to say, I believe the principles of God is what I want to base our nation off of, or I want a country here that is totally based off of secular government. And you're going to vote for one or the other. You will vote for one or the other, and I implore you, please vote for a person who's going to take Christian values and start to stand again in our nation's capital and pray to Jesus Christ, and understand that that's where we have our strength at. Correct. Is in those things. Amen. So that's all I've got to say about it, is that if you don't understand the difference between the two, then you will go out and vote your pocketbook. But it's that simple, that we have a secular government in place right now, and it will continue to build, and it will not get any better. Did I do all right?
Yeah, he did good on that one.
Well, I tell you, if people can't see the light in the dark in these candidacies here, in the Democrats and the Republicans, if you can't see that, you need to get on your knees and ask God to give you sight, because you're blind. Yeah. You cannot see. You're deaf. You cannot hear. You have no spiritual perception whatsoever except what the media is trying to portray for you. And if you're that blind, God help this country if we're that blind.
And say again about the spirit of intimidation that's in the land. And I said this the other day, is that what's happening is that if you are afraid to even stand, if you're afraid to talk to the people like what I'm just saying, or to be able to put a Trump sticker on your car, or a Hillary sign out in the yard, that you're afraid of any that's the spirit of intimidation that's coming across our land. And that same spirit was the same spirit that was in Hitler's day, that was in that country, and it's manifesting itself in our country as well. So that we don't have free speech, or we have it, but you have it. So you kind of like, I wonder if I'm going to get my house shot. I wonder if I'm going to get my sign taken down. What is somebody going to do? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that am I going to lose my pulpit? Because I say something against the government. What's going to happen to me if I do this here?
Well, in 2007, I remember when Hillary was running for president then, and she was asked about her position on man and woman as being the marriage, the sample of marriage. And anyway, she was talking, and she said, well, I believe marriage is between a man and a woman, and I believe it's a sacred thing. That's the way she said it. But then over a 10-year or over an 8-year period, she's evolved now that it's okay to be a lesbian. It's okay to be gay. It's okay to be transgender.
But you understand why? Do you understand why?
Go ahead.
It has nothing to do with what she believes. Mm-hmm. Her belief is that she is a Methodist. She's a Methodist at heart.
That's what I heard.
But here's the thing: is the Democratic platform does not support marriage between. It identifies marriage between two individuals. You see, it's a government void of any Christian influence. So it's not a matter whether she does. I'm sure she still believes that.
Yeah.
But the platform,
that's private view and public view.
And your public view. Okay. You see what I mean? That's what they're going to stand for. And people still Obama, he's Muslim or he's Christian. Doesn't matter. The platform that they're standing for is you got to push Christians out. You got to push all religions out of that place, because it's humanistic philosophy is what it is. And if people don't absolutely understand, do not look at the person. Look at the platform, the party platform that they're standing, because that's what they're going to push in the land. Hitler was a Catholic. Hitler was baptized Catholic. But yet he pushed his government totally outside of any Christian influence at all, and he based everything on a secular government. Did that make sense, what I'm saying?
It does make sense.
So you can have all he believed in the protecting babies and all this kind of stuff, but his platform, his nation was built on secular humanism, a corrupt philosophy. Oh, we got someone calling in. Hey, caller, you live and on the air. Got a comment? Got a question?
Hey, Pastor. Hey, Pastor Hall and Evangelist Watson. This is Amanda from University Parkway.
Uh-huh.
I'm really enjoying the show. I just wanted to make a comment. You know, if all else fails, this is something I never forgot. I think it says in Romans that we as Christians, we have the ability to command things as though they're not, as though that they will be. Well, I just tell you this. If anything, we can still pray and fast if she gets in the office. And the reason why I say that, look at what happened with Esther and Mordecai. You know, they came very close to being destroyed, and Haman and his sons got hung on the gallows. I also read somewhere that when Mary, the Queen of Scots, came to power, she was trying to institute Catholicism. I think it was in Scotland or something like that. But and looked this up. John Knox, he prayed, and his fasting, he really prayed and got hold of God, and she ended up being exiled. There's also another story, and I read this, and I never forgot about this. John Hagee wrote about this in a book, and even Derek Prince mentioned this, that a lot of the Christians in England, when they heard about how Stalin was going to see about trying to go after and kill the Jews, they started to pray and fast. They prayed and fasted for God to cripple and bind and destroy and deliver the demonic spirit that was controlling Stalin. Well, about a few weeks later, he suddenly came down really ill. He had a brain hemorrhage. And as the story goes, now they set up to 13 surgeons tried to operate on him, but he didn't. Now, I'm not trying to be judgmental when I say that, but my point is we as Christians, we can start putting back some type of influence over the government if that's what it's going to, I mean, I'm sorry, but we can still do something. But
Sounds good.
And the other thing, I think if it comes down to it, I really mean it. I think we as Church of God, we need to contact I think his name is Mark Williams, who's over the Church of God. We need to declare a boycott against Hollywood. The churches need to come together and like for maybe a period of 6 months, just come together. We need to boycott, Hollywood for a good amount of time and let them see we still have a voice.
That's right.
Because even the Lord told me about a year ago to stop watching ABC and CBS and NBC News, that there was a demonic spirit behind it, and you just confirmed what he had been saying. So that's what I got to say.
Well, thank you for calling in.
Thank you so much.
I believe that
I enjoy listening, y'all.
Yeah, I believe what she's saying about prayer is our most powerful weapon.
Yeah.
And that if we'll utilize what God has given us, then God can do what he wants to do in our election. But we got to give him our hearts, our minds, and ask for his will to be done.
Praise God.
Well, they did come out with I'm not sure if you've seen this or not, a resolution about go out and vote. Church of God did. Go out and vote. Everybody come together, go out and vote. And then at the last of it, at the very bottom of it, it says people who believe that God has called them into public service of politics need to get involved.
Yeah.
And I agree with that.
Amen.
The reason why we have what we have up there is because nobody wants to step out and let God use you as an influencer in those type of situations.
Mike Pence is the first political person that I've heard actually say, I'm a Christian first. And that really touched my heart.
And again, what I'm going to tell y'all on that is that I don't care what they tell me. I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a pastor. What platform are you standing on, and what are you going to push?
Yeah.
Are you going to push homosexuality and abortion? You see what I mean? Because it's greater than the person.
Obama said he was a Christian.
Exactly, and I believe he probably is. But the thing is that when he steps into that arena, that is not part of their platform. And that's what you're going to put in the office. And I really grasp that. Steve, thank you so much for being with us today.
All right. Well, I'm going to go over here next door. You get out there and you pray, and then you go vote. You be sure that you go vote, and you vote God's word.
Come ride with me in my Trump truck, and we'll go on down there and vote with you. And go
Praise
vote with
the
us.
Lord.
Steve, you got something? Stephen Watson?
I just want to say we love y'all, and we encourage you to pray. Like Brother Hall said, pray, and then go out and vote, because your vote will count. God bless.
All right. Well, there you have it. From Project SEER, God bless you as you continue to serve the Lord. Thank you for tuning in today. We've been your hosts, Henry Schaefer and Steve Hall. The end times are here. Anything is possible. Are you ready? Don't miss the next episode of Special Edition End Time revelation.